Yo, what's good everybody? It's Austin here, or Luna. So I just want to say my bad about missing yesterday's upload. I planned on making a video and I got halfway through it and then something happened and I can't go too much into detail now because it's a future story time, but just know it's a good excuse and you will know soon, like later this week. You're probably wondering why not tell it now? Well, a couple people involved. I don't want to talk about the story yet until I have their permission to kind of bring them up in it and stuff because they are close friends of mine and I want to tell the story unless they're cool with it. So yeah, just hold out and I will tell you guys soon, I promise. But today's story time, it's a banger. It's a good one. It's a crazy one. It's a little bit sad at times. And it's all around wild. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. If you do enjoy this story time, please leave a like on the video and let's get into today's story time. Takes place about a year ago, okay? Actually, just under a year. It was 11 months ago. Yeah, this is definitely a very recent story time, so, that's cool. But yeah, today's story time all starts off 11 months ago. I had just gotten home from a friend's house, my friend Mikey's house. I was there pretty much the whole night. I hadn't slept yet, so I was very tired, very exhausted. And yeah, I laid down in bed at like 5 or 6 p.m. I was super tired because I just pulled an all-nighter and I was up all day pretty much, so I was ready to sleep. And just as I start to drift off, my phone starts to ring. And I look at the phone and I see it's my homie Rob calling me, and I did not feel like talking to Rob. No offense to him, but Rob was one of those people that you talk to and he just would never stop talking. And I usually don't mind that. I like talking to people. I like long conversations. But in this moment, with how tired I was, I could not handle a 25-minute conversation. So I just let the phone ring until it went to voicemail, and then I put the phone back down on my nightstand and I started to drift off into a peaceful dream. And literally right after I fell asleep, sure enough, Rob starts calling me again. Like a few minutes later, starts calling me again. He wakes me up. I grab the phone. I look at it. I see it's him again. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I don't want to talk right now. So I send it to voicemail and I put it back down on the nightstand. Sure enough, a minute later, he starts calling me again. So I think to myself, like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to answer the phone because it might be an emergency. Rob might need me. So I grab the phone. I answer it. I'm like, hello. I sounded real dead inside, real out of it. He's like, hey man, don't sound so excited to talk to me. And I was like, what's up, man? He's like, why'd you ignore my calls? I was like, dude, I just spent all night at Mikey's house. Then I spent all day awake at his house as well. I'm tired, man. I'm in my bed right now. I'm trying to fall asleep. Like, what's up? He's like, really, dude? You're going to bed? Like, you're going to sleep right now, bro? Like, Austin, you sleeping early? I was like, I know. But like, dude, I am tired. I have not slept in over 24 hours. He's like, bro, you're not going to like what I'm about to ask you. And I was like, what? What is it? He's like, are you down to come to my party tonight? And I was like, dude, I can't. I'm sorry, but like, I can't. I'm way too tired. He's like, Austin, man, it's my birthday. Come on. And I was like, what? Your birthday's not for like 2 more weeks. He's like, I know, but we're celebrating it early. It's tonight. And I was like, dude, you didn't tell me that. If you told me like 2 days ago that your party was going to be tonight, I would have like prepared and like not fucked up my sleep schedule. And he's like, yeah, but bro, come on. I'm telling you now, it's one time a year. Don't miss it, bro. And this dude's just trying to guilt me into going to his birthday party, right? And I feel terrible because like it's really working. The more and more he tells me like he wants me there, the more shitty I feel and the more I want to go. But I'm just so tired. So I end up telling him like, you know what, dude, I'll think about it. Okay. Like give me 5-10 minutes. Let me think about it. And then I'll let you know. And he's like, bro, you better not fall asleep. I'm going to call you in 10 minutes and I want your answer. And I was like, okay. So I hang up with Rob, and the first thing I do is I immediately call Mikey after that. Because Mikey and Rob and me are all friends. We all know each other. And Mikey did not tell me about this party that Rob was having for his birthday, so I wondered if he knew about it. So I call Mikey up, he answers, I'm like, yo. He's like, what's up, dude? I'm like, I'm exhausted, but tell me why Rob just called me and said that his birthday's tonight, and like, we're gonna miss it. He goes, what? No, his birthday's in 2 weeks. I'm like, that's what I fucking said. I guess he's celebrating it early. He's like, bro, what? Are we supposed to go to this? And I was like, I guess so, bro. He just got off the phone with me. He wants my answer in 10 minutes. He's like, oh, well, he didn't call me, so I'm not going. And I was like, bro, come on. Like, if I'm going, you gotta go. And he's like, fuck it, dude, whatever. So yeah, me and Mikey both crawled out of bed, took showers, got ready, and then we met up together at my house. And within 20 minutes, we were driving over to Rob's house to go to his birthday party and probably pull another all-nighter, which is very unhealthy. Never do that. Not sleeping for 2 days is a awful idea, and it can fuck with your brain, so don't do that. But yeah, like 10 minutes after I got off the phone with Mikey, Rob called me back, and I was like, yeah, we're going. Like, Mikey will be here soon. We'll go there together. He's like, fuck yeah, man, you won't regret it. And yeah, after that, like I said, Mikey pulled up. We went to Rob's house together. We got there. We were there kind of late compared to everybody else, so we were one of the last people to show up. And yeah, for the first hour of being there, I actually was doing pretty good. I kind of had a second wind. I was kind of awake again. I was just hanging out. I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't smoking, wasn't drinking. I was just kind of chilling there, sober, just kind of already high enough off the sleep deprivation. I can't lie. I definitely felt a little bit weird. But yeah, I'm just going around, talking to people, hanging out with everybody, having a good time actually. Like I said, the first hour was good. Well, then an hour into it, I start crashing very hard. I start hitting a wall. I start getting really tired. And I'm not talking just tired. I'm talking about I'm literally nodding off in the seat that I'm sitting in. And I'm not leaning back or anything. I'm straight up just nodding off while sitting up, which is crazy. You have to be a different level of tired to start nodding off like that. And Mikey notices this. He's sitting next to me and he's starting to feel it too. And he's like, yo, you want to dip? And I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, all right, let me go tell Rob we're leaving and then we'll dip out. So Mikey gets up, he goes in the crowd, tries to find Rob so we can say goodbye. I'm just sitting there in that chair. And before I know it, I'm out. I fall asleep, dude. I fucking knock out in that chair, just out cold, asleep. Now, I'm probably asleep in this chair for maybe 10 minutes before I wake up to a very, very strange sound. I wake up to the sound of two people arguing. I open my eyes and these two guys who I did not know, they must have been a friend of Rob's or a mutual friend of somebody's. But these two guys, both pretty big dudes, pretty muscular, probably the same age as me, are arguing, face to face, in each other's faces, arguing with each other. And immediately I kind of snap out of it. I wake up, I'm pretty alert because I want to know what's going on and I don't want to be in the middle of this argument. And I'm starting to listen to what they're saying, and I can immediately tell that they're arguing over a fucking vape. I hear one of them literally say, I know you took it, where is it? Now I'm sitting there just too tired for this shit, dude. I'm like, yo, there are people dying in other countries, people are starving to death, and these two chads are in front of me arguing about who stole whose elf bar. What the fuck am I even witnessing right now? So I try and be the bigger person, and I stand up between these two, and I was like, yo, guys, it sounds like there's a misunderstanding going on. This dude's saying he doesn't have your vape, you're saying he stole it, and this dude's holding up a different vape. It's probably just a misunderstanding. Are you sure you didn't lose it in the couch cushions over there? Because we can go look for it. And this guy's like, no, bro, I didn't lose it. I handed it to this kid to take a rip because he asked me to. And then he got up and went somewhere with it, and he came back and it was gone. So yeah, either he handed it to somebody and they stole it, or he stole it. I don't care. Either way, I want my shit back. And I was like, oh, okay. You know what? I shouldn't have got involved in this. I'm sorry. And I just take a step back. Because clearly there was more to it than I thought. And also, I didn't give a fuck anymore. Personally, I couldn't care less about the vape theft. I just wanted them away from my chair so I could go back to napping in peace until Rob and Mikey came back. So I sit back down in my chair, and these two continue arguing. The one dude keeps accusing the other dude of stealing his vape. The one who's being accused keeps saying he didn't steal it, and that it fell out of his pocket or something while he was coming back from the bathroom. I don't know what the truth is. Like I said, personally, I don't give a fuck. Well, I start to drift off again. I'm sitting in the chair, I'm getting tired, I start drifting off, and I kind of snap out of it. And I'm like, yo, I can't fall asleep right now. I need to text Mikey and see where he's at. So I text Mikey and I'm like, yo, where are you? Did you find Rob? I want to leave. I'm exhausted, and these two kids are about to start fighting over a vape. Now, that was kind of a joke. I didn't actually think these two kids were about to start throwing hands over a vape. But little did I know that I just accidentally manifested that shit, because literally 10 seconds after I sent that text to Mikey, I hear one of them say, get out of my face. And I look up and they're really in each other's faces now. They're closer than they've been the whole argument. And there's a big crowd around them. And the one dude, the one that was being accused of stealing, pushes the other dude back. And he goes, I said, get the fuck out of my face. And right after that, man, all hell broke loose. The other dude comes charging back at him, tackles him to the ground. They're throwing hands at each other. Two random people from the crowd, who I'm assuming were friends with both of these guys, jump in and start trying to break it up. And then one of them gets hit and he starts throwing hands with one of the people. It's just a shit show. It's a 2v2 at this point, and I'm confused at what's going on, and I'm right there in front of it all. And they are literally a foot in front of me on the ground. So I need to get the fuck out of there fast, because if I don't, they're probably going to come over to me on accident and sweep me into it somehow. So I'm like, all right, bro, I got to get out of here. So I stand up, I jump over them, because they're all on the ground pretty much. And I run through the crowd after that and get out of that bitch. And and I find Rob, and I'm like, yo, where's Mikey? And he's like, I don't know. I thought you were with him. I was like, bro, there's a fight going on, like right over there by the kitchen. And he's like, what? At my fucking house? Hell nah. And he immediately runs into the other room and starts pushing through the crowd to try and get to the front, and I'm following him because I want to like try and be helpful. And we get to the front together, and the fight's still happening, and let me just say, the dude who was being accused of stealing the vape, the one that like pushed first, he was definitely winning pretty hard. Him and this other dude, like I said, it was kind of like a 2v2. Him and his homie were like kind of winning against the other guy and his friend, and it was getting kind of bad. Like, without being too gruesome, because I don't want to get demonetized, there was definitely some bleeding going on from the nose region of his opponent. And the dude who he was beating on definitely had like some redness in the face, like definitely was going to leave some bruises. And it was clearly getting very serious, right? So Rob like dives onto the dude that was winning, the one that was being accused of stealing. He like dives onto him and like holds him down. And I walk over and I try and like pull his friend away because like that dude was fighting too. But I wasn't very strong. And compared to this dude I was trying to pull away, he was stronger than me. So he just kind of kept like going against me and going right back to fighting these dudes. And then finally, out of nowhere, Mikey comes from the crowd. Like, I don't know where he was the whole time, but he comes out and he helps me kind of like break these guys up for a little bit, and we're able to like chill out, right? Now, I really thought the fight was over, but unfortunately I was very wrong. It gets a little bit worse, so stay with me. So we get everyone broken up, right? And immediately Rob's questioning what happened. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Why are you guys throwing hands in my house? That shit's not okay. Like, what's going on? And I start telling him, I'm like, yo, like there was a vape, in question that got stolen, and that's why they were fighting. And the one kid speaks up. He's like, yeah, that motherfucker stole my fucking vape, and he still got it. And the kid's like, I didn't steal his fucking vape. I lost it. I lost it in the crowd. I was coming back from the bathroom, and I lost it. And the guy's still going. He's like, bullshit, bullshit. And they're both drunk, by the way, which is not helping any of this. And then Rob's like, okay, what about the other fucking two? Why are you guys fighting? And he points at the other two dudes that were originally there kind of breaking it up. At least that's what it looked like. And then they started fighting. And one of them was like, well, I was trying to break it up, then I got swung on, so I started helping out the dude. And the other guy was like, yeah, well, that's my boy, so I was just fighting with him. So it seems like, from what I heard here, one of them was trying to break it up. He got hit on accident, so he started fighting. The other dude had no intentions of breaking it up, and he was just there to help fight with his boy. So, yeah, it was a little bit of both. One was trying to be a good Samaritan, the other one just wanted to fucking fight. I honestly thought they were both trying to break it up at first, based on what I saw, but I was wrong. Anyway, 5 minutes later, after everyone was kind of calmed down a bit, Rob tells everybody that everyone needs to get the fuck out of his house, that the party's over, that shit got too real too fast, and that it was done. So yeah, this fight essentially ruined the party, and it got canceled, right? So everyone gets up, and everyone's leaving, and everyone's just heading towards the front door. And me, Rob, and Mikey are walking out all these dudes that were just fighting to make sure that they didn't start fighting again. And we get them out in the front, we get them towards the sidewalk, and the two groups both start going in completely different directions. The one dude and his friend go one way, the other dude and his friend go another way, and that was the end of it. So I thought. So we all thought. So after this, me, Mikey, and Rob go back into Rob's house. We sit down on the couch. No one's there anymore. The house is fucking trashed. And we're thinking like, okay, that was a crazy night. That was a crazy party. And in my head, I'm thinking like, yo, it's time to go home. So I look over at Mikey and I was like, yo, you ready to leave? He's like, yeah. I was like, you drive me home? He's like, yeah, for sure. I'm like, you drink anything tonight? He's like, nah, dude, I haven't done shit. I'm too tired for anything. And I was like, same. So we both got up and we start heading towards the front door. We dap up Rob, told him have a good night. Sorry about what happened. Told him we'd see him tomorrow. And we open the front door and we're about to leave. And all of a sudden, we see this guy running up Rob's driveway. It was a friend of ours from school. We'll just call him Brian, okay? Brian's running up the driveway in a panic. And he runs up to the front door where we're all standing. He's like, yo, guys, they're fighting again. Like, they're down the street. They're fucking fighting. And Rob goes, are you fucking kidding me? They were going different directions. What? And Brian's like, yeah, I don't know, dude. One of them yelled something, and the other dude came running back, and so did his homie. And all four of them, dude, they're fighting again. So we all run down the street full speed, and we could see it in the distance. We're running, and we could see this crowd in the distance, and they're fighting in the middle of the street at night under a street light. Now, we get there in about like 20, 30 seconds, and we get to the crowd, and we start trying to break it up again. But this time, it's a lot more serious. Not only is it more serious because they're fighting again, but they're fighting again after having a little bit of a break. So their strength is kind of like recharged a bit, so it's like a lot harder to break them up. And also, one of them is pinned down on the concrete, just eating punches, and his head is on the concrete. So every time he gets hit, dude, his head and his face is hitting the concrete, which is not good. Like, that's so fucking dangerous. So it takes us like maybe a minute and a half to get these guys to actually fully be broken up, because every time we'd pull somebody off, the other person that they were fighting would come running towards us and throwing hands, trying to hit them, and sometimes we'd accidentally get hit. It was just not good. But after like a minute or so, we got them broken up. But that was not without problems. So remember that kid I mentioned that was getting hit and his head was hitting the pavement? After we got them all broken up, he looked strange. Like, he looked very, very out of it. He looked very, very like pale, and he looked confused. So I sit him down and I'm like, yo, like, are you okay? Like, what's your name? And he's like, my name is Dominic. I was like, all right, nice to meet you, man. I'm Austin. Are you okay? Like, you feeling all right? He's like, yeah, dude, I'm just like pumped with adrenaline. That's all. Now, keep in mind, the dude I was talking to, the one that said his name was Dominic, he was the one that was being accused of stealing the vape. So the first round, it seemed like he was winning pretty hard. And now the second round, he definitely lost, right? So I just keep asking him questions, like keep him alert and see if he's got any like concussion signs or symptoms, because even though I'm not a doctor or anything, I remember every time I've had a concussion, I've been pretty bad with questions. So I was trying to see if he had anything like that going on. And honestly, he seemed okay. But that was until about 2 minutes later, I turned around to like ask Rob something, and I hear this girl that was standing next to us start screaming. And I turn around and I see Dominic on the ground, this dude just like seizing, having a full-blown seizure. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So immediately, Rob calls 911, he calls an ambulance. The guys that were involved in this fight, the ones that caused this, just start running. They run away because they don't want to go to jail for causing someone to have a seizure and like assault. And the one dude that was fighting with Dominic is sitting next to him, trying to like keep him on his side and stuff. And about 5-10 minutes later, the ambulance comes. They get him on a stretcher. They put him in the ambulance. At this point, the seizure had stopped, but he kind of seemed out of it. He was like half in, half out. He kept like waking up and then falling back asleep. It was just really, really concerning. So they rushed him to the ER. And the whole rest of that night, after I went home, I just kept wondering about this dude. I didn't even know him. I didn't know this dude at all. He was like a friend of a friend. That's what I found out through Rob. Like, these people were all like plus ones that started this fight, right? But I was still worried about the dude. So the next morning when I woke up at like 2 p.m., I called up Rob and asked if he had any details about the dude, and he did. And I guess what happened was actually similar to what happened to me when I had that skateboarding injury. The dude whacked his head on the concrete so many times that he got a pretty serious concussion, and he's one of those unlucky people that had a seizure with the concussion. So yeah, he had a seizure, and he had to spend the night in the hospital. But this gets even better. So after Rob tells me about the dude spending the night in the hospital and having a concussion and stuff, he proceeds to tell me that the other guy in the fight that essentially gave this dude the concussion also had to go to the hospital later that night because his parents were concerned that his face was so bruised up and he had like a bloody nose. So they made him go to the ER. They took him to the ER, and he turned out to have a broken nose. So these two dudes like damaged themselves so bad over this vape that they both ended up at the same hospital on the same night. Now, as for the other two dudes that were like helping them, they never showed. I don't know what happened to those guys. They kind of just like stayed in the shadows and never showed up to the hospital, so I don't know. But that's what Rob told me, that the two main dudes ended up in the hospital. Now, he also told me that the police were there and they like questioned both of them about what happened, but no charges or anything happened. I don't think either of them wanted to charge each other. Like, I don't think they wanted to press charges. I think they just both wanted to feel better. But I heard they did talk to the cops, not really sure about what. I'm assuming it was just kind of like the cops trying to gather more information. I don't know. But as far as I was told, nobody got charged. And they both got hurt enough to go to the hospital. So guys, the moral of the story is, it ain't that serious, dude. It's a fucking vape. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I will see you all later. Peace.
I'm staying up and you won't take my place. I made like 30 just a week ago and I'm not phased. I heard that song you dropped, you capping, now I'll see